This is Josh Krafchick, the Millennial Slacker Guide founder, and I'm here with my boy Isaiah. We met at a UNF. What was it? What was
It's
it,
like a
Isaiah?
panel discussion.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was at a panel discussion. I showed up. I was on a panel. I stirred the pot a little bit. I was a little bit different than everyone else there, and Isaiah and I connected. We've become pretty good friends. We've chatted. I've been following his journey. He actually left school, dropped out to become a real businessman. And so we wanted to share his story today, the peaks, the valleys, why he decided to leave school, because social media, there's just so many people on there who are faking it. And then there's people like Isaiah who are too busy working to be posting to social media all day. And that's the reason why we're here today. So good to have you here, Isaiah.
Thanks, Josh. Yeah, much appreciated. Excited to be here.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that you dropped out of school. How did that decision go? Because I never had the balls to drop out of school. You did, and you've been making it happen. So, go tell us through that thought process for maybe people who are thinking about going to college, in college. Perhaps they're, thinking about dropping out.
Yeah. I never really, I took a semester off right out of high school to work and make some money. So I never really even wanted to go to college, but I thought I had a lot to learn. I didn't think I was really ready to go out there and do it. And I didn't want to live with my parents, which would have pretty much been the only option at the time.
Yeah, who wants to live with their parents?
Right? Had I not gotten subsidized by the government and other lenders to basically fund my living through the next few years of college. And so I chose to do that, and it was fun for the first couple of years, and I met some really awesome people.
What were you studying?
I didn't declare a major for the first probably year and a half.
We met at the finance group.
Yeah, so when I had joined that, I was actually auditing. I asked Dr. Schnusenberg, who's one of the best professor I've ever met and had over at UNF. I believe he's still there teaching the finance program and financial planning program. But I connected with him and asked him basically if I could sit in on his finance classes, and he let me sit in on behavioral finance and some other classes, modeling, not modeling, but some of the other ones. And so I went to every class throughout the semester and was just trying to learn. I never went to college to try to party or anything like that. I kind of got that out of my system when I was like 14 and 15. So I was just trying to get down to business, learn as much as I could. Didn't really have that many friends. I had a couple of good ones, which is the way I like it. And I finally said, hey, you know what? I know I want to be an entrepreneur. I know I want to own my own business. I know that I want to have autonomy and freedom to choose. So what in the finance area would make sense? There were a lot of people that wanted to go be a banker. There were a lot of people that wanted to go be analysts and CFPs and go that route, and that's fantastic.
I felt like a lot of kids were there because they thought that those people make a lot of money.
Yeah. And there are a lot of people that I also just feel like really wanted to work hard, like really, really hard, 90, 100, 110 hours a week. And sometimes that's necessary, but I don't want to work 110 hours a week myself.
No, definitely not.
So that wasn't for me. The financial planning seemed like a good route to basically build a lifetime annuity, a lifetime, portfolio of clients that you're helping. And I thought I wanted to do that. And that's why I chose that program. I don't even think I ever got to the core classes, but that's how I got into college. That's what I was doing, and was part of that club, the Financial Planning Association, trying to learn as much as I could, and it was really helpful. I will say it was helpful.
Yeah, I mean, most people, what they go to school for, they don't end up in that job, but indirectly, what you learn in any major can be transferred to any sort of position, which is hard for a lot of people to swallow. but it's true. So like for myself, I got actuarial science and I ended up in finance, which I never thought I would. But I realized having a degree that's different sets me apart from the competition, which businesses now, there's so many choices. How do we set ourselves apart when we're like dealing with customers or prospective customers? Like that's, in my opinion, the hardest part.
It's fantastic. And I know you had your actuary degree, and I'm sure that helped. I'm sure that was impressive. I mean, that's a very impressive degree to hold. So
Yeah. But how do you, when you're dealing with new customers, set yourself apart from the competition? Because there's lots of choices.
I just, with whatever I'm doing, I just assume that there isn't. I don't focus on the competition really. I'm not focused. I try to think about in every area, and the e-commerce business is a little bit different because you're just trying to build a reputation of follow through, and it's very important that you bring products to market through the right marketplaces and show it to the right people, and present the items in the right way by describing them accurately, taking accurate, high quality photos, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
For the face-to-face service type businesses, after you discover what those customers' pain points are and what those customers are really like their end goal looks like. And in the IT, the business to business IT, after working with a lot of the managers and CEOs
Mm-hmm.
that I'm communicating with before they hire us, I'm asking, what would you like this to look like? Why did you call us in? What's wrong right now? What aren't you happy with? What do you want? What if you could go to night and wake up tomorrow and your IT was perfect? What would that look like to you? And after asking that question a bunch of times, it's pretty much reliability, high quality of service, and confidence in knowing that their systems are set up properly and reliably, so that they're not going to walk into work and then have some critical issue, not be able to operate, and then also not only that, but then get kicked in the nuts because they can't reach they can't reach a company, and the person's, oh, we're sorry, we're swamped, we're busy, we can't come out until a couple days from now. And so that's pretty much what they're looking for. So designing product and service offerings aimed at that, to show them that we can provide that, is really, it just pretty much sells itself.
Yeah.
So
You're super smart. It's how many different things do you have your hands in right now?
Well, it's actually interesting because I'm actually attending UF online as well right now.
So you're back in school.
Yeah, but I used to want to get really good grades and stuff, and I just decided you learn so many. You learn a lot of things, but more than that, you connect with so many awesome people. Like I'm in a business law class right now, and my professor actually wrote both the textbooks. Like he wrote them himself with the help from some people, but his name's on the cover, and it's an Amazon Prime next day delivery book. Like it's a popular book. And so that's a really cool guy that I'd really like to get to know and have on my contact list to be able to build a relationship with. And so that's more what I'm interested in. I basically told myself, look, anybody can get really good grades, I believe, if you read the book. If it's all a time thing, you know what I mean? If you spend a lot of time, I don't have a photographic memory, so for some people, they can just get great grades and they don't even have to they can just look at the page and they've got it. For me, I have to spend more time than I'm willing to give up right now to get outstanding grades. So I'm more focused on getting the degree, meeting a lot of good people. But to answer your question, aside from that, I wish it was with me. I got this Brandon Burchard high performance planner, which I'd recommend to anybody watching this. It's really, really great. It helps you break down your day, your week, your months.
Yeah, I have a planner too, like an old school. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it like right here.
That's awesome, man. Keep it right on your hip. Mine should be here.
Like you write all your shit in it?
Yep, absolutely. And one of the questions, because you have to answer these questions in the morning. It's the first thing you do when you wake up, and it's the last thing you do when you go to bed. And one of the questions is, what projects would you like to work on that you don't have time for today? And every day I'm writing a few things in there. And it's either the schoolwork, the University of Florida, it's either the Jacksonville IT solutions, like actually developing and building. It's either the Florida transitions. It's either eShop Save. And then, and then there's also some real estate investing that I've been trying to work on as well. So there's like 5 things in there, and I don't like to focus on more than one thing until it's already up and running pretty smoothly. I don't like building more than one thing at once. So I usually take 3 or 4 months to really hunker down and focus and get something off the ground and operating.
Yeah.
And then after that, I can build up a few things. I'm pretty much at the critical point where it's like, okay, this is good now. And then design the week around the 7-day week around which of those to work on each day or for a time period each day. And really, I mean, it doesn't take, I haven't found, I mean, I wouldn't know what to do with 12 hours for each one of those projects, because it's kind of takes some time to think about things and let things marinate to be able to make good action. I find that 2 to 3 hours a day on each project on average is pretty good to make some decent headway.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I know when I attended Florida State, there was you could actually major in entrepreneurship.
No way.
To me, I feel like there's 2 people in the world. There's people who think they're entrepreneurs, but they're actually just business owners. And then there's people who are entrepreneurs, because I've seen people say an entrepreneur is someone who creates something that does not exist. How does that hit you?
I like that a lot. I think it's true. And I also admire those who can go in and buy a business and improve it and flip it. And, that's great too. But I agree. I feel like it's a different animal. I haven't done what I just mentioned yet, but I'd imagine it's completely different than just trying to start something from scratch and being by yourself.
Do you think people can learn entrepreneurship, or do you think it's more of like either you have it or you don't?
I think people can. I definitely think people can learn it. I think like all things, this is just my personal, I know a lot of people disagree with this, but I think like all things, there are natural characteristics and traits that could enhance the outcome. Like, you could practice as much as LeBron James or Ray Allen or one of these greats, and
you'll never be
become a really good basketball player.
Yeah.
But it takes some natural elements there, something in the DNA that can help, allow you to achieve that level. And so I think there are fantastic entrepreneurs out there, and I don't even know if I've got the natural ingredients. I don't know. I mean, I'd like to think that I have a number of them, but I do think that it's a process. At the end of the day, it's a process. And if you are able to learn that process and then just do the steps of that process, maybe you fail a few times, maybe you fail more than somebody with those natural gifts or whatever. But ultimately, I think that you can have some good outcomes.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially with the internet, man. I mean, you can find great, a lot of it, like you said, has to do with people, and you can find really great resources all over the place to do things for you. Like, I'm not a great web developer. I'm not a great programmer. Mm-hmm. I got a team of people that I can call that'll call me in 15 minutes and we can work something out, and they can start, working on something. I don't want to have to feel like I have to do that in order to get where I want to be. So,
yeah. So what's the vision for yourself? You dropped out of school, you're back in school, doing this, doing that. Like, where, I don't like to say, like, one of the questions I hate people ask, like, so Josh, tell me about your 5-year plan. I'm like, I have plans for the week that I don't even get to see happen, because plans are always changing in our worlds. So like a 5-year plan is like, I'm just like taking one day at a time. Like, as you're saying in your planner, one, bite at a time, all right, what did I do today? I spent 20 minutes doing this, 20 minutes doing that. But I mean, as you can see, it compounds over time. So, I mean, what is the vision with everything that you're doing as far as what you want your life to be, with freedom and finances? Obviously, you got a ring on your finger.
That's right.
So,
you
thought about it?
One. Yeah, no, absolutely. I believe as far as to remark it on the 5-year plan and like the long-term plans, I
Great 5 year
personally,
plan.
I've got an idea of where I'd like to be in my head 5 years from now. And there are also, I feel like once a business is, because again, I don't know what's going to happen with my businesses. I don't know which one, if one really catches traction, and I do have a feeling I know which one will, and I know which one I'll like the best. But it's nice to have the choice and still be able to operate the other ones with the resources that you have, but really focus your time on one that you really love. And once that's kind of solidified, and that probably, I don't know, takes at least like a year and a half to be able to build that foundation, then at least for me, then I feel like the 5-year, 10-year plan can get a little simpler because you can focus it on that business and what that business could become, revenue goals, X, Y, Z, market expansion, all that type of thing. And I feel like that's what is usually consistent in those longer term plans. For me, I got a general idea of what I'd like my future to look like. And it involves getting up every day and being able to decide where I want to spend my time and not have to, I like obligations. I like to feel like I've got some meetings next week, like new client meetings. And I like that because I plan them and I committed to them. But I don't like to be told like, hey, you have to come do this. I just like to be able to have the choice to do what I want to do. So to continue to be able to make that choice is pretty much, I'd be happy. To me, it's not really, money's a byproduct of value creation. And so my focus is value creation and not money, except for there are bills that have to be paid, but it's not that hard to create the amount of money to pay your bills. In my opinion, you can do that with a job and then do some entrepreneurship. That's partially, why a degree would be helpful too. So that would be like the worst thing for me in my head to have to go and get some job. And I don't think that'll ever happen. But it's
like you sign out of your computer 2 minutes early and your manager's like, hey, I saw you left early yesterday. It's like, yeah, but I came an hour early.
I just couldn't do that. I couldn't do that at all. And I also have a hard time just sitting in one place. I like to be able to move around and work around. And sometimes I'll just drive somewhere, and instead of doing work here in the home office, I'll do work in my car somewhere in a parking lot. And then I'll drive to the beach and do some more work.
Is that what you've been doing with this pandemic? Staying in your car, driving around? I like to call it my mobile office.
There you go. So are you doing the same thing?
No, I'm not doing the same thing. I've just been doing it at my place. But I do like taking calls and getting things done, and you can have meetings on the go or things like that. Yeah. So, how have you handled this coronavirus? And now we have mandatory curfews with the current
Crazy.
situation that's going on in the with the police brutality and stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing. Just to fit, because a thought just came in my head. Just to sum up where you want to be. I think you'd probably agree with this as well for yourself, because I we know each other. I want to build something great that helps people. Like that's pretty much success to me. And then once there's that momentum, get it bigger to help more and more people. That's really the ultimate goal. But to remark, to comment on all the things going on, man, I drove through downtown Jacksonville yesterday, probably about 4 or 5 p.m. before things started to heat up. And yeah, there are a lot of angry people right now. And I used to read a lot of the news and look at a lot of the news and financial news, regular news, all that. And I don't have like TV service in my place. So
yeah, me neither.
I don't really look at a lot of it. And so I admire that there are people that have a passion and are fighting a certain fight. I don't really pay attention to it. So
yeah, I'm the same way. People think I'm crazy, but it's like when you're looking to change your life as far as like the way you grew up and basically change your whole family dynamic and your future family's dynamic, certain things you don't even hear. Like if a pandemic was going on, I probably I haven't missed sports at all. Have you? Have you really missed it? I know it's affecting a lot of people, but when you're really into a business and you're really in that fight, nothing else really matters.
Yeah, I don't really watch. I've never watched sports really, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm not missing that.
How do you relax? How do you keep your sanity? Because I know I've burnt out a few times because you start making money, you get addicted to the result, make money. Then you realize you're 25 years old. I'm burnt out already. I still got another 100 years to go, or however many years people are going to be living when we get down there. But I mean, how do you balance all that to stay even keeled?
Well, I do. I recently, there's a great place in Ponte Vedra, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And so
Cool.
I like to do that. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Right now we're doing I was off for a while. And that sucked, man. I cannot motivate myself without somebody, a group of people right there to work out and exercise. I just can't. I can literally do less physically. It's a mental thing. I know it's a mental thing, but I can literally do less physically just here by myself. I'll be on my last possible, I'll be at exhaustion far sooner if I'm alone than if I'm with a bunch of people. So that was kind of killer. So I do that. And then, my fiance Haley helps balance me. If I wasn't with her, I'd probably just work all the time.
Be a madman.
Yeah, that's what I was doing before, and I didn't really get tired of it because, like I said, if I don't like it, then I'll just move on to another thing to do, you know. And even, I mean, just recently, my hobbies are I'll look at domains. And I'll find it's stupid, and all the great domains are taken. Believe me.
Hey man, I stumbled across one with "Don't Have a Stroke."
That's awesome. See, that's fantastic.
Just I came across it, and I was like, "How's no one thought of this?" And that's awesome. How ideas happen. So you'll find one when you come up with the idea, and you're like, "How did no one think of?" I just think selfie stick. I always think, "How do I create the selfie stick?"
I don't know, man. I would suck at that myself. I don't know if I'd ever
simple.
be able
to keep it simple. Selfie stick. How do I come up with selfie sticks? If I can come up with 5 selfie sticks, they're not gonna be selfie sticks. With 5 different things that are simple selfie sticks throughout my life. Who knows where I can go? And that's how I think. How do you think about coming up with ideas and things like that?
No doubt. I can't stop thinking about the domain. My focus is on the domain, man. But it's I found, and you probably like this too, just because it sounds like you like that little thing. And one thing I've done with some mild success recently, and again, it's when I get bored, when I need a break, this is what I do, you know. And you go find a domain that you really, really like. I made some calls last week. And some of them you can't contact the person because it's all private and they don't have a website and it's just all private and there's no broker involved. There's no nothing. But a lot of great domains, there's actually a really crappy website. I don't know which one. I was looking at transitions or transitioning.com or single words that would be really nice to have that probably hold a value of somewhere between $10,000 and $100,000. And if there's a really crummy website, or if the domain forwards to another website, then that means obviously they own the domain, but they are not using it for their brand. And so you can just cold call those people. I called the guy the other day. I forget the domain. I think it was passage.com, PASSAGE.com.
Okay.
Might have been another one. It was a really good domain though. And I called him up and it was 8 p.m. And I said, "Hey, Roy." And he said, "Yeah." I was like, "Hey, don't mean to interrupt your night or anything. And, I'm sure you get inquiries all the time, but I'm building a brand right now. This is what it does. I'm trying to make a great impact on people. Anyways, I was wondering if you'd like to sell your domain, whatever it was. It's better than that. And the guy says, he just starts cracking up. He's like, and I just chuckled. I was like, that sounds like a yes, Roy. That sounds like a yes to me. He said, that's a hell fucking no. And I was like, oh, come on, man. I was like, well, I thought I'd give it a shot. I'm not like a domain buyer service or anything like that. I'm just a guy down here in Florida. And it would be an amazing, you're a lucky guy. You got a great domain, whatever. And he said, you know what? I get emails. He's like, you made my night, because I get emails all the time about people trying to buy my domain that I'm going to die with, by the way, because I got enough money. I don't need any more money. I'm going to die with this domain. I'm the first person to own it. I'll be the last person to own it. But
until his credit card expires and someone else can buy it.
Right? Doubtful. But he said, you're the only person that's called me to ask for the sale in like 25 years. And I was like, wow, that's positive reinforcement. And I text him. I'll follow up with him too. I mean, I'll put him in the pipeline, do the automated follow-ups. But yeah, I thought that was hilarious, because I think like the looking for domains that are available is great, but if you can actually find some and then actually do something a little bit different and call them, I just think that's what it's about. It's about doing things differently, trying to be different, like you said. So to answer your question, sorry to divert on that. I just thought that was a great story.
That's a good story. Hell fucking no.
And now it'll be even greater once he comes around and sells it for a quarter of what it's worth. But anyways, my idea of I feel like everyone's got their style of how they try to think of ideas and think about what a great business could be. My style is pretty much looking at problems that people have and situations where their problem could be solved. Not only that, but I also look at I look at businesses that are already working. You know what I mean? Because if you want to do an HVAC company, say you're working as an HVAC person right now, all the stuff, man, you're made if you know HVAC in Florida.
Yeah.
You could easily go. I'm sure there might be some licensing involved or whatever. Fine, go do it. But you could easily take your knowledge of HVAC and even team up with a couple people. Fine, if that's what you want to do. But you could go out and make a killing. I mean, you could double, triple, quadruple your income in a short period of time, because there's a huge demand for that. And not all the HVAC companies can handle all the business all the time. There's a lot of business to go around. And so I think you can take the approach where, okay, this is an existing business where there's money to be made. There's a high need for it. I believe that I could provide a great quality service and fill that need. And then there's also the approach that's, okay, how can I go into problem identification mode and interview people? And if you like working with dentists, you could go and book meetings with dentists and go ask them, hey, look, I'm just trying to make I'm trying to make your job easier. I'm trying to help your, business run more efficiently. Just tell me about your problems. Pay them for it. Give them $150, whatever. I paid a lawyer a few $100 the other day for an hour of his time. And now he's in my contact list, and he said I can call him anytime, which is that's a great value right there. Pay him, but ask him.
It's crazy how you could pay someone a little bit of money.
Yeah.
And then on the back end, it's just you gotta show people you're willing to invest in them before they'll invest in you, because people are slow.
No doubt. And so if you like working with lawyers, which God bless you if you do, I do. I like working with lawyers. Or if you like working with dentists, or if you like working with golfers or whoever, go talk to them. Learn about what their day-to-day is like. Learn about what problems come up. And then once you get that picture and you start to see some themes, then you can go ahead and start to try to start formulating some kind of service or product to address that, and then bring it to them. I mean, before making any type of significant, if it's not something that's already working, I feel like you got to bring it to them first and show it to them and see if it would actually make a material difference. And then if it will, maybe even ask for a pre-order, Say, hey, look, I trust you and I believe you, but and it sounds like you like it. So if that's true, I'll commit to doing this, or I'll return your money. But once this is done, you know, it should be like 6 to 12 months. If you're able to pre-order now, it'll allow me to help get it done. And then you can, then when there's a tangible commitment, then you know, okay, this is real. Other people pay me for this too. They actually want it. So I think that's another great method to do it as well.
Yeah, always got to sell the problem, not the solution, because everyone has different problems.
No doubt. And the pain and the suffering and the lost time, and you know, you're the pissed off wife, you know.
Oh yeah, no one wants to deal with that.
Definitely no doubt, man. No doubt.
Well, I think this is great, man. Is there anything you want to plug in to wrap things up here?
No, this has been great. I think, you know, one thing I think a lot about is just the online education, not education as far as like formal education goes. The online training and like course business is a very big business. I don't know the figure, but it's an extremely large business. And there's a number of legitimate people out there, and then there are a number of people that their core business is actually the course. You know, they might have had a little success doing something, and they're going to teach everybody else how to do it. Like it would be like me. I guarantee you, I could go sell a course on domain purchasing and domain flipping, and I could probably charge people like $1,000 for it. And I doubt for most people it would return their money to them. And I just feel like, it's nice to see the really pretty picture of like doing your own thing and running, you know, trying to build a business and all that. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's really, it's work. There's risk, there's uncertainty. And one of the things that I remember all the time, and again, I don't know if this is positive or negative, but it's just a fact, is like, hey, I'm okay living in a trailer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm okay getting my house foreclosed on, you know, going bankrupt and having to start from scratch. Like, that's a real possibility. And because if that comes, if that hits one day through factors, because I'll do everything I can to steer the boat away from the iceberg. But if something happens and that shit's like right under the water and I just can't see it, and things go wrong, I don't want to be one of these people that has forgotten that winds up killing themselves or just going off the deep end, going insane, and not being able to recover, because that happens a lot. I mean, it happens a lot. And it can just happen with people that aren't trying to build it could be somebody that's worked in a company that loses their job, and that was their everything.
Yeah, like when the pandemic hit and people lost their job, you know, they have these secure jobs, and then a pandemic comes and there is no job.
No doubt. And for a lot of people, I mean, look, I can't imagine the feeling. I mean, last year around this time, and it's a far different picture now, thank God, but last year, right around this time, I had business issues with my supply chain. And because I wasn't diversified enough in my supply chain, I literally had like 4 months of like living expenses budgeted, and I had a little runway, but it was a lot of pressure. I probably had like, I don't know, like 15 grand left and that was inventory I still had to sell, but most of it was profit. And I got a job at Amazon. I didn't stick around long, but I was like, I just need this. And that shit motivated me to be like, get back into gear. But I had to take it because I was like, man, I at least need to offset the cash bleed. Because if I can only bleed like $1,500 a month instead of like $4,500 a month or $5,000 a month, then I'll do that and eat shit during the night shift at Amazon, because I'll feel better inside, and I'll, you know, and that's just one of the realities, man. That's why I can't imagine with kids, and like if that were to happen with kids and all this, that'd be a lot more complex and a lot more pressure. But even for an individual, it's like, you know, you gotta remember, like, things can hit the fan, and you gotta remember that, and just be able to be flexible and adapt and be willing to just go and do whatever it takes. And if that's not for you, then if that's not for you and you don't have like a really big cushion, like rich parents that'll take care of you or anything like that, which I don't have.
Me neither.
And I wouldn't even elect for if I did. Then like, it's probably not for you. But if you're able to say, okay, look, and you got to be mutual with like your significant other, your partners, whoever, and say, hey, this is like what this life could be. And it could be really, really great. And it could be really great, and then go really, really sour. And then that's why now it's like really trying to focus on stashing cash and paying yourself so that at least you have a personal cushion. But man, I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty, it's up to you. And that's why I feel like a lot of people are like, it's like, it doesn't just happen for itself. It's up to you. And if you make the wrong choice, you're going to send yourself up Shit's Creek,
Yeah.
And sometimes it's easy to make the wrong choice.
Of course.
What are your thoughts, man?
No, I love it. I have no doubt you are going to be a leader in some sort of way in the future. And that's why we want to have you on here, and just to inspire people and give them some insight of what it's like to be a real entrepreneur, not one of these influencers saying like, hey, I'm a entrepreneur. Look at me. I bought all my followers and stuff like that. So look at the break through the internet, show real value, real people, real stories. And that's pretty much it. So
yeah. Well, and there are a lot of them around here too. Like, it's not just the youngsters, I'm young, you're young. And there are a lot of, like, there's amazing young people that are like, internet marketers, whatever. And like, they're providing value and they're just killing, and good for them. But there are a lot of people just around the community, that are running their business, and it's not always, it could be a guy driving up in a Honda Civic, Honda Accord, running his business. And like, that's somebody to really admire. You know what I mean? Like, I admire those people deeply. I admire like everybody. I admire people who do work day jobs, especially when they're happy. I don't admire those that aren't happy and then don't change. But if you've got a job and you're like like an administrative assistant somewhere, and like you love it and like you love your team, like, I admire you too. But there are some people around in the community that you could meet and join groups. I know you're in the group. And there's so many people to learn from. And so hopefully by the time I'm like 40, 50, you're 40, 50, hopefully we won't still be kind of fighting, and like, fighting the mountain upwards. Hopefully we'll have some good momentum going, which is super
we'll be able to create those jobs and give people.
Yeah, and I know you got momentum, man. Congratulations on partnering with that venture cap. I mean, that's amazing. So that's a huge win right there. I just want to recognize for everybody
thanks,
watching.
man.
I mean, Josh made this amazing deal. I mean, I don't know how, like, that's an amazing deal. That's such a hard thing to do. He basically talked to some sharks and they loved him and what he was doing, probably him even more than what he was doing, because you got to believe in the person. And I know they made a great deal. So I'm sure Josh had a pretty good payday. And congratulations, my friend.
Thanks, man. We're still working on it.
Yeah.
Obviously, one deal doesn't make you successful. So the whole idea is to partner up to make that product be a global success. So Isaiah, thanks, man, for joining me. Again, Josh Krafchick with the Millennial Slackers. I had my boy Isaiah here, talked about some entrepreneurship, told some stories, and Isaiah gives some great insight to what the day-to-day life is and what it takes to make it happen.
Thanks a lot, Josh. Talk soon. Talk again soon.